Welcome back to the Pokemon Unite Shuffle, sponsored by the Wide League, Bobby Cantan, Community Gaming, and Elite Pokebox. We're here with round 2 after a very interesting round 1, a really dominant performance there by Intentional Throw. This next match we have coming up, the Blazing V-Stars versus the BackStreetBirds. Very interesting matchup here. Slim, what do you think about that last match?
Last match was great. Just understanding game wise, like, hey, when we have an advantage, let's keep pushing it. Let's not get too out of control position wise, and just very disciplined. And it showed in a really dominant performance. Game 1 definitely closer, just because it is probably maybe your first or maybe second time playing with your teammates. But once you get into the game, you kind of understand, like, okay, I know where my limitations of my teammates are, and as long as they understand situationally where everyone's supposed to be, just showed a really nice game plan. So hopefully we see more of that. Maybe we can see a game 3 out of it. Don't know, but either way, we just want to see some great uniting, which we're having so far.
Yeah, and really good positioning in the Rayquaza pit, particularly. I think that was the linchpin, I think, in both matches. Intentional Throw really put all of their players in a position right on the lower side of that pit, and were able to kind of fight everybody in that one little small lane. All of their damage really concentrated in those one areas, and they're able to do what they've been doing best, which is, really converge on one player, pick one of them off, and start to, stack these matchup odds to be better in their favor. Yeah, a very tasty first game, as Top Gun 1399 points out there. With this coming up, I think the lesson learned, as we say before, is always the positioning of those late games and those late pushes. And so it'll be interesting to see how these teams deal with those same kind of strategies. It'll be interesting to see what's brought this time, right? We saw a lot of interesting picks last time with double defenders, double support, and more attack-based things. What do you think we're likely to see here?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Normally, a lot of the times we do see Blissey is something that you see a lot of, which we didn't see that game, so I was kind of surprised there. Wigglytuff, which when I do play Unite, I think Wiggly's just really good. Just the fact that you can kind of put on a lot of pressure. Just, guess what? Depending on what you're doing, do you have a full heal? Do you have X speed? I can kind of hawk you down, and it puts you in a very vulnerable position. So wouldn't be surprised to see another one there. I think everyone should probably run a Mime. It's just so good right now, so I wouldn't be surprised to see another one.
We're in the Mime renaissance these days.
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember the first time we all played Unite, Mime was kind of, there was only like maybe 1 or 2 Mimes you knew. But now Mime seems to be a staple, and it's a pretty good thing. It's really fun to see it just being used everywhere. And another Mon that I'm expecting to see somewhere along the line, I'm a big fan of Lax. I like to be a bully in my path, so that's kind of my thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you see that, maybe not in this match, but it could be down the line the others. And we'll have to take a look and see what these guys pick as their Pokemon of choice.
Yeah, Lax, probably one of the best early game defenders in the game at this point. And block, I've seen so many critical block plays lately with people that are able to just use Snorlax to get an entire team off an objective, or focus them into a small lane or a small area where, again, just like Intentional Throw was doing, convert your entire rest of your team can converge on those singled out players and take them out. So it is interesting that we didn't see any Snorlax being run in those first ones, but it's no surprise that we're seeing Mime on both sides. I think anyone that's been watching this channel is probably no stranger to everything going on with Mr. Mime. But it looks like we're starting to get our team set up here as we switch over. And side here, V-Stars going in with a Glaceon. We see that Mime yet again. Mamoswine coming in as the defender, and Tyranitar is Serena is going to round out the rest of the team. What do we have over on the BackStreetBirds side?
Kind of interesting, just because I haven't seen, as much as I see Slowbro, I don't see Slowbro. You understand? You know what I'm saying? Where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Just because, of course it's great and we know what it can do, but out of all the defenders, it's not something I've been seeing kind of slow down a little bit, which is kind of interesting. Machamp, great pick. Serena, great pick. Mime, of course. Cinderace, coming out of that potentially central forester area is going to be very interesting. And there's luckily not a Wigglytuff that can try to hawk you down, but Glaceon, we've seen no matter whether it's you playing ranked or anyone in any tournament, Glaceon has been the one thing that has been very, very dominant. So we're looking for a big performance out of Sheeps on that Glaceon.
Yeah, Glaceon has been an absolutely dominant force in the Unite meta right now. But we'll see how both these teams stack up. It's going to be interesting to see how these lanes break down. Who's going into the central area? You got to think that Cinderace on BackStreetSide is going to be the pick there. And it's exactly what we see. Cinderace going into the jungle. We see Mime and Machop going down a bottom lane for Backstreet. Up top lane, we have Serena and Swinub for Blazing V-Stars, as well as Tyranitar and Mime on the bottom path. And rounding out the top path for BackStreetBirds is going to be a Slowbro here and the Serena. So some interesting picks here, a little bit of bulk up top, and top lane really trying to play pretty aggressively for the V-Stars here. But Slowbro able to kind of push them off a little bit. They're able to peck a little bit of scores in there, but some interesting first moves here as this game starts to heat up.
Actually, and the one thing that's been great is there's great synergy and that top path between the Serena and the Mamo, just knowing like, hey, I want to go in here. Can you get me out? And exactly able to do that as we see a big fight break out and able to get a pickup, a big KO. And like we said earlier, Glaceon making a huge difference, coming out with that huge amount of power, and you immediately have to back away just because it can trunk you and make you return to base. And we see another fight break out, and the Mammo's going straight after that Cinderace, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get a KO. Almost, but might KO the Serena in return. So really great dive there and able to get a KO in just in the nick of time and maybe able to save this. Is able to save the Slowbro.
Yeah, Slowbro able to survive in there just by the hair on its chinny chin nap, while we see a Mime and Tyranitar really holding down this bottom path for the V-Stars. Machoke and Mime on the other side starting to pick up a little bit, but really just kind of pecking at each other, not really getting too many scores off here in the bottom lane, but able to, you know, honestly, both sides able to really push corners and people in with double screens.
Absolutely, and just kind of a tit for tat going with the Mimes going against each other. But right now, it's all about just trying to get as much XP as possible. But I think the Serena has just been caught out of position, get a little too close, and Cinderace is able to make him pay. So really well done there. And it looks like Mr. Okay, just getting away. I would say Mr. Machoke is going to go down there, but just able to get away. And Slowbro just trying to survive here with that surf, trying to back away. But I don't know if you're going to be able to get away from that Glaceon, and that Mamoswine able to pick up the KO.
And so we see both teams here just trading KOs back and forth, which is, you know, definitely helping on the XP side, but really kind of a fair split when it comes to that. Bottom lane starting to round out a bit more contention right there in the middle as the Aldaria clouds come up. Mime able to get a couple of those chipped off, and it's double KO for both sides. They're able to push in and get a clean stack on this goal. Mime getting a good 13 in there and a 30 points there for the Tyranitar, as we see again a push for the V-Stars up top as well. Not able to really get any points off the boards, but able to clear that central area for some critical XP this late in the game, as the Rotom is up. It's there. People know it. They see it. And really critical positioning for both teams as the Glaceon comes in from behind.
Absolutely. And the one thing I took away from that was just the big KOs picked up by the Tyranitar and the Mime, because Tyranitar does get that evolution level 9, so right now you're always trying to find as much XP as possible, and that fight really helped, especially we were able to get off a dunk, so might be able to get that evolution a lot faster than it would before, as we do see the Regieleki does advance, unfortunately, towards the side of the orange, so they're gonna have to kind of back away a little bit. And we do see potentially another fight gonna break out here right in the central area, and a big unite from the Cinderace and another from the Serena, and it's a all-out fight here in the middle area.
Oh, wow. And it seems that the V-Stars are able to pick it up, bringing the whole team there, and going to stack all of that down on bottom as the Serena goes one-on-one with the Machoke in its own territory. But this Mime looks like it's going to be able to close out this goal with a nice 40-point overcap here.
Yeah, that was a huge fight, just because we know these spawns, people are just fiending and just love the XP to try to get these levels and push their advantages. And we see a nice little 1v1 between both the queens here. We don't know who's going to win this fight, but both just instead, decides, I'm going to back away. We got the XP I could. No need for me to try to potentially give you some more XP if you pick up a KO here.
Both of them deciding to be the bigger queen in this situation. Mime going to retreat back in the bottom path as the Backstars try to get themselves in a better position. Right now, scoreboard's very much favoring the V-Stars with a good 100-point lead. But we see board state-wise also going to the V-Stars here and able to pick up some critical KOs here in a 4v1 situation. Some nice XP build-up for them and great positioning for this Rotom coming up here in 20 seconds.
Yeah, unfortunately, the queen did walk into a bit of an issue, and so did the Mime. They kind of, if you're gonna walk around, make sure you walk with your friends, just because things like that can happen. So we do see a little bit of a fight breakout just for some more XP, but once again, I caught out of position. You're getting too aggressive and paid for it.
No one goes off path and no one walks alone. That should be the motto this late in the game. As we see the Mamoswine getting in critical positioning here for this Rotom, but this Mime looks like it's going to get KO'd by the Cinderace. Oh, it is able to get away with just a sliver, doing more tricky Mime shenanigans. Glaceon's going to put itself in a position to take out that Cinderace as the Mamoswine pushes in the Rotom. Doesn't look like it's going to go for the actual score, but the pressure that Rotom's putting on there is enough for this late in the game. A great plays here by the V-Stars.
Absolutely, and shout out to the Mime being able to get away on just basically 1 HP with a fabulous just push away from the Cinderace. So great stuff there, able to get the Regieleki, and of course, as you can see with those shields, was able to get the other Reggie down in the bottom. So both objectives caught, and right now it's just a matter of just, hey, let's keep getting XP, let's not get caught out of position. We're doing pretty well here. And Team Orange is going to have to really kind of step up their game here. They keep getting caught in some interesting spots, but maybe this fight might turn the tide as Cinderace is going absolutely ballistic right now.
Backstreet able to capitalize on a big central fight here, able to pick up some critical KOs. Mamoswine kind of eyeing them down, but they're 3 stacks here in a 3-on-1 situation. We're going to try to see if they can stack as many points into this goal as possible. Serena coming in with 40, Mime coming in with 40. They're not able to get it off as the rest of Team V-Stars comes there to assist, and they're able to clear off that goal. Very clean play there by V-Stars.
And that is the one thing about a lot of these fights. You have to have the situational awareness, like knowing when can you truly take on some these fights to the next level, because you got a couple picks, which is great, but as soon as Mamoswine was able to get under that goal, you should have known, like, this probably isn't the best for us, and it gave more than enough time for his friends to come in and picked up the KOs, and that all that great momentum you just had evaporated just like that.
Oh yeah. Now everyone's kind of eyeing the clock as it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 30 seconds to Zapdos. It looks like a Rotom's going to spawn in that time, but it's not enough time to quite melt it. And we see Backstreet positioning themselves in position to take out both of those on a 3v2 situation. Mime and Tyranitar playing off their back feet here. Tyranitar with just a sliver of health, able to get... Oh, it does not. Cinderace is going to capitalize on it, and it's going to try to melt this Rotom in the next 5 seconds here. All of Team Backstreet is going to really capitalize on it, and they're able to get the Rotom in here just enough time for Rayquaza to come up, and a critical team fight happening here right on this first base for Team V-Stars, but they're able to push them off here. Serena ulting onto the Cinderace, able to take it out, and a clean up here by the V-Stars, able to take a 3 KO streak with the Glaceon and just put themselves in an amazing position for this Rayquaza, as nothing left but the Mime is there to disrupt everything. It's going to come in with a Trick Room. It is not able to get it. Tyranitar stealing this Rayquaza. What a play.
And this is the biggest thing I just explained about knowing when certain fights you cannot take. They got the Regieleki, definitely at that point disengaged. They led themselves into that goal. They thought, hey, we can push this and we have the advantage. No, you did not. With things like Tyranitar and Glaceon absolutely doing an amazing job of sniping away with those abilities, chunking everyone, and Tyranitar is able to clean up. It was a fight that once you got the Regieleki, you need to back away and reset immediately. And now they are just, it's just really, there's no coming back from this, as much as I would like to say there is.
big final team push here is going to put that lead over there to about 400 points. A very solid lead here. V-Star is able to really secure this, and now we're at 30 seconds. There's not even enough time on the map to get these in here. Tyranitar putting itself to defend that top goal, which still hasn't been broken by Backstreet. So Backstreet, of course, probably taking this time to reevaluate, reassess, and figure out what can be done differently in game 2 to, you know, hopefully get a better result than this. No one wants to lose by 400 points, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and you know what? It was not terrible. It's just that there were 2 fights that unfortunately just didn't go well, just because I think they got a little over aggressive and it put them in a really bad spot. You have to understand the Pokemon you're up against. Tyranitar able to do massive amounts of damage, and Glaceon able to do massive amounts of damage from far away. The range wasn't there. And of course, the tank play from Mamo was absolutely marvelous, just staying alive just enough time for the friends to get there. So it's just a matter of like knowing, hey, we can't capitalize on this fight. Let's back away. Let's reset, because if we stay here, we're going to basically get KO'd for nothing. So you just got to pick and choose where you take the fights. And overall, was a great job, but they just got caught really out of place in a couple times. That's what led to this score.
Big shout out to Siilent Sheeps there, stacking up about 90,000 damage. Just absolutely wrecking whatever it can. And I mean, the Glaceon there was a pretty essential linchpin in a lot of those plays there, able to win a lot of critical team fights. I think the big message here was winning the team fights, right? Because almost every single team fight, even when they were in favor of Backstreet, like the way that V-Stars were able to converge and the way that they were able to assist each other, they were able to get Mimes out on just a sliver of HP. They were able to have Tyranitar get out of position into to place where the rest of the team could converge on them. Just a really great synergy here.
Absolutely. And yeah, one of those calls when you saw in team preview, whenever you see a Glaceon, for me, that's the one I'm looking for. And if anybody doesn't know, Siilent is a name I've seen since I started this, so I was not surprised there. I was like, as soon as I saw that on the Glaceon, I'm like, okay, that's the thing to watch for. So, and absolutely proved it. And it was interesting because if you were just watching the match, you just saw, you didn't see Glaceon everywhere, but you saw it just peeking, right there, there, just kind of sneaking around, doing a lot of damage, and really made an impact because Mamo and Tyranitar are kind of just like, oh, you guys are almost half health. Let me just walk you down then.
Just
so
hiding in
really
the bushes
good
with
way.
A handful of ice spears ready to
Absolutely.
go. Right? As soon as they struck by, then it was just like, okay, capitalize, and that's exactly what happened there. So if you're Backstreet, what's the pivot?
Right now, you're big. Well, the thing is, I don't think they were doing that bad. It's just once it got to a point of like, okay, it's kind of even now, they got a little overzealous and they picked some fights they should not have. They didn't know how to back away because they were. Once you feel the pressure of you're down and you're struggling just a little bit, you want to put some points on the board. You want to make it more even. But once you get the momentum in some of these fights, it's okay to just withdraw. You can live to fight another day. That's what you have to do. And that's the one thing I think they have to learn. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The back and forth, the tit for tat, right? I mean, there was a lot of big pushes there that didn't really end up getting much of anything, but both teams survived both of them, right? And that's not only good for the XP grind for both sides, right? You want to try to starve them. You don't want to give them additional XP by taking you out, but also, you know, just trying to see where your in is and really trying to figure out how this team can synergize the best. I think we saw V-Stars really capitalize that on that the best in the last match. And so it'll be interesting to see how Backstreet adjusts, you know, whether that's bringing in more bulk or, you know, one of the things I noticed about the last team, they had a lot of damage output, but it's a lot of close damage, right? It's stuff like Machamp, it's stuff like Serena, right? You're not getting a lot from a distance. You are having Slowbro, you do have the Cinderace, one of the best distance mons out there, but there may be a reasoning, especially with that Glaceon there, to get just a little more damage from a distance in those situations.
Yeah, the range damage is a lot. So I'm looking forward to see if there's anything different that's being picked. But I think for the most part, you're kind of going to see the same champions, same Pokemon being played, excuse me. But, well, I mean, it could be some minor adjustments. We'll see maybe tank-wise. Mamo did a marvelous job this game. Didn't really get to initiate, but didn't have to. And that's what you want to do with Mamo. So Mammo's there to stall, kind of initiate, drop down some icicle crashes, but really what you don't want to have to do is have him just forefront the brunt of a lot of that damage,
Yeah,
where he can
yeah.
stay alive and create a lot more crowd control. So I'm interested to see if there's any other picks we'll see in of those other places.
And looks like we're about to see that just now as we see the teams loading in. Similar lineup here for the V-Stars going on with that Glaceon. Not going to take that out of there. Siilent Sheeps making sure that stays there. Mr. Mime able to still get away by the hair on its hairless chin. Mamoswine, Tyranitar, and Serena. So pretty much the exact same comp.
But there is one difference. My man Bully Lax is here.
Yes,
Love me some Lax. So I'm interested to see how this fight goes. And the Machamp is very, very, Machamp does a lot of damage, especially very explosive with that Unite move. If you especially just position yourself in the right spot, you can potentially catch 3, maybe even 4 Pokemon in that big Unite. So I'm looking forward to see what the difference is here and how these fights go. But I love seeing the Snorlax come out, see if he can be a bully, especially early in this lane.
Yeah, Machamp is absolutely a huge damage dealing threat, but dealing a little bit of emotional damage in that sleeveless tuxedo there. And it looks like things are shaping up. Let's see how this one turns out, and if we see the same path choices for each Mons. And we see again that Machamp and Mime going on the bottom lane there for the BackStreetBirds. On top lane, Serena and Mamoswine for V-Stars. Returning that top lane is going to be Snorlax and Serena for the Backstreet, and on the bottom path for the V-Stars, we have T-Tar and Mr. Mime. Gonna try to see if they can get that contested kill there in the middle. Both Mimes throwing up screens behind him saying, get out of this. Machop able to come in there and get a critical steal there, but not able to pick up any KOs as Larvitar gets a sneaky steal there right off the bat. Some screens going up, trying to block it in the way, but a couple of little... Oh, and Machop going in there for a critical KO on this early game.
Yeah, this is the good pressure you need kind of in both of these paths. You need a bully and you need an attacker. Mime can do enough where it can kind of throw you off your pathing where it's like, oh, I want to walk this way. No, I'm going to push you this way. So great job just knowing where to make the adjustment here. And this early game's already going a lot better than it did before. So looking forward to see, as you see, Glaceon is up here. She's ready to try to get some good aggressive positioning, actually, which is really helping its pathers get that XP, and Snorlax not really able to do much about it, unfortunately. We do head back down to the bottom path, and we do see just a little bit of cheeky, kicks here, pyro balls, and trying to see if we can potentially get a KO here, but just being able to get away as usual. This Mime has consistently just gotten away every time.
Mime just getting away with everything that they can as the Cinderace returns to that central area. Glaceon, of course, able to get a little bit of exchange on the top lane, now kind of positioning it closer to the bottom lane, possible swoop in at any moment in time. We see some progress being made with that Larvitar getting it closer to T-Tar. Of course, it's not really going to do the optimal damage that it wants to until it hits that stage. It's one of those mons that really plays very well in the late game, not as much in the early game. Central area fight going down. We see... It looks like a 3v3 situation, and Serena just stomps that out into a clean KO and able to pick up that critical XP there in the middle. Mime gonna go for a quick score there for 29 points. Cinderace gonna pick up the KO on Serena and see if it can get it on the Glaceon, but it cannot, as Glaceon absolutely annihilates it with an Icicle Spear. Very, very great back and forth we're seeing here as the clock turns to 7 minutes 30.
Absolutely, and everybody's at a pretty neutral state right now, just trying to see if we can get this last couple amounts of XP needed before these objectives come up. And we do see Cinderace make a nice appearance down in that bottom, trying to see if we can help get some pressure on, but unfortunately, oh, what a huge stun by Mr. Mime there, and this might be a fight you don't want to take. Able to steal the barrier, just diving that goal, and they might be able to do this, but Mime, of course, is one of the most hardest things to deal, and they finally able to pick up a KO, but here comes the Glaceon, looking like a cleanup in aisle 3, ladies and gentlemen. Might be able to pick up, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. Can it be a 4, ladies and gentlemen? And yes, it is.
A 4 KO streak. What a play there by Siilent Sheeps with Glaceon. Able to rack up a 20-point overscore right here as we see some return fire coming from the Machamp top path, looking eyeing that Rotom right now as we see Snorlax coming around, trying to see what it can do to bully the situation, but not really getting too much off on that goal. Mime able to get a cheeky 2 points off and keep Snorlax a bit on its toes. Serena is going to try to start snipping away at that Rotom, but not able to really get a critical push, especially with that Snorlax there, just knowing what's coming up. You know that there's possible slam that's going to be coming in here. It's going to try to steal at the last second. Serena is going to put a lot of damage on it. Good block coming in, but they're able to pick up the KO on the Snorlax. Regieleki has not healed back up, so the Mamoswine's going to see what it can do to chip away at that. Well, a big push down here by Backstreet on the bottom path, able to take out that bottom goal as the entire team swings top. Serena is able to pick up the Rotom and put some critical pressure on this top path. Snorlax is going to try to block it and is able to block it long enough for the rest of the team to stack back up on here. This is going to be a big fight here in the top path.
Absolutely. And the one thing I'm glad that the orange side did was, you know what, we're going to take what we can get. If they do get the Regieleki, hey, so be it. We need to put some pressure goal-wise, and they took out the bottom goal and was able to put on a lot of pressure. Meanwhile, this fight is now kind of turned a little bit. We do see the Mime unite, trying to disorient everyone, and of course, Glaceon just putting out a huge amount of damage here. We do see Cinderace trying to come in, is going to let off that unite move. Is it enough, though? Mime with the big push there might be able to hawk him down in 1, 2, 3, but here comes Serena just to make sure it doesn't go any further and picks up the KO just to avenge his teammates.
Really putting in the work. Cinderace using that flame charge to see what it can do to catch up to Serena, and they are able to take out the Snorlax. So Regieleki on the goal, they're able to well overcap that goal with a good 40-point score by the Serena after the Tyranitar kind of tries to chip it up as much as it can. With 15 points there, Serena decides, let's not make that push right now. And the Snorlax and Mime coming in to assist it. A block is going to try to see if it can separate the Serena from the rest of its crew. Mamoswine and T-Tar coming in for backup. Looks like it's going to be a bigger team fight now. Mime is able to get knocked out of there, and now the odds are definitely stacked against the BackStreetBirds as a big score here for the V-Stars.
Okay, and you know what? That was deserved because that is a fight that should have never happened. That engagement should have never happened. That's frustration. That's frustration because you can tell, like, hey, I want this KO. I'm tired. I feel like I'm being bullied, and they went way too deep, and the momentum just absolutely turned. We see another big unite move come out here, and all for nothing as Sheeps on this Glaceon has been a terror throughout this whole entire match.
That Machamp just absolutely tried to cash a check that his ass could not cash right there, right? I mean, that he came in super hot. Glaceon able to pick up a critical KO there, and right in the nick of time. Looks like Snorlax is going to get away from this big team fight with just a sliver of health as another Rotom pickup here for the V-Stars.
And that was absolutely just due to Tyranitar popping the Unite move there and just executing anyone that was below a certain percent. Of course, that's how it works, and just doing massive amounts of damage, and it's not anything you can really just sit in front of. And right now they're just pushing the advantage as much as they can. It looks like they got Cinderace caught, and that's another one. They might be able to catch this Mime. She's looking to turn, but looks like decides to back away, even though Serena unfortunately is what was it, maybe able to get away. No, just kind of
it's able to dash
no way.
Out of a 4v1 situation, and the queen shows exactly why she is the queen, running straight into the central path and just say, you know what, I'm just gonna pick up a little bit more XP, try to take out some mons where I can, and let them deal with this Rotom.
That's one of those things that's such a heartbreaker, where it's like, we have this champion pinned, and somehow they get away anyway. That's a heartbreaker, because that XP, at least you could say, hey, we punished you for this, and it's just really heartbreaking. So that one's gonna hurt a bit.
That one is going to hurt a bit. Now we see both teams looking at the clock with about 2 minutes, 15 seconds, trying to put themselves, Backstreet trying to put themselves in a good position for this Rayquaza pit. They need the push, about 100 points down, a little over 100 points at this point. But the V-Stars are countering that, really trying to see if they can get all eyes on the field and see where the rest of their team is. But it looks like Backstreet is going to stack up all in the bushes, kind of keep their numbers secret, see if they can make the play on Rayquaza, but it is absolutely theirs to take right now. Both teams sizing each other up as the Rayquaza pit opens up, and both teams just kind of hiding in the bushes, seeing what's going to go on here. Who's going to do it? Are you going to go first? You dance first? I don't know.
And right now, you can be very patient just because though the score does look very daunting, is nothing you can't come back from because the double points is allowed. As you see, the Cinderace just starting to tap the rate, trying to get some attention, maybe trying to initiate a fight here as we're looking for some position. But we do see a huge back cap coming in. That's another 100 right there. So now it's go time. You have to make a decision and something has to be done. We see a lot of Unite moves coming out here, and we're going to see who's going to be able to pick up these KOs. Tyranitar picks up another one and another one.
Wow.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is a team wipe. That is the game.
That is absolutely the game there. Very, very interesting. Backstreet really, even with the numbers on their side, not able to win that team fight and just absolutely got annihilated and pretty much at the same time. So everyone is coming back at the same time. Very, very clean goals. Able to clear this off and stack up almost a 600-point lead, 700-point lead now. So yeah, this one is a pin in the bag with 30 seconds left on the clock as we see V-Stars just go for as many cleanups on their goal as they can. Yeah, it hurts to see it happen, but when you're outnumbered like that and you've got a 5v1 situation, you're gonna lose every time.
This is one of those that hurts the pride a little bit. They're just consistently just scoring. Looks like they're trying to go for the 1K, but not gonna let them do it, and I understand it, but that was a really, really tough fight in the legendary pit there at the Rayquaza. You just saw a really nice use of spacing, and the Unite moves came out at the right times. Tyranitar able to pick up a couple KOs. Sheep on the outside, just chunking things, putting them in range for Tyranitar. Just beautiful synergy in the way that fight came out, and then got the team wipe out, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. Marvelous play there.
Yeah, absolutely marvelous playing there by the V-Stars. A really, really dominant performance all the way through. It was Backstreet's play to make in the Rayquaza pit, and it's hard because you have the Mime going for the back cap, but with that you have numbers on your side. That Mime can't be there. If you've got all 5 of your team members, you can take advantage of that. So you have to be able to win those team fights, especially when you have the numbers advantage on your side. But Blazing V-Stars able to really just put them in a critical position, take out everybody all around the same time. One of the cleanest team wipes I've seen in a while.
Absolutely. And you are right. You do want to push your advantage whenever you do know, oh, this person's not here, especially Mime. Mime's the one thing that in a fight, if you don't see it, you want to try to pick and engage. But the one issue is on a team like that, Tyranitar can tank a lot of that damage and do damage back to you. It's very difficult. And then you always have to figure out, okay, where's the Glaceon? Because it's going to be way in the back somewhere, just chunking you. It's going to take a lot. And they can stall long enough and do enough damage. By the time Mime comes in, he can disorient everybody with his Unite move. And then you're kind of in a bad spot. So it's really hard to engage on a really well put together team comp there. So I got to give kudos to where the picks were. That's a huge... It's a team difference there.
The T-Tar in the bottom path too is a really interesting choice, right? I mean, it's not a crazy choice to see it there, but usually we do see a lot of stuff with T-Tar in the jungle because it doesn't get a lot of that the experience or the damage output that it needs to until it hits that T-Tar stage. But Mime is able to really play as a really key support there, and we saw even as Pupitar, it was getting off those little tiny pecks of scores right there at the beginning, and really able to put either pressure on them or get them out of position so Mime can capitalize on it. Absolutely amazing plays there by the V-Stars.
Absolutely. And that's just, a player knowing and understanding what I need to do to get to my max levels and how I need to do it. And when you have a great teammate like a Mr. Mime that's knowing like, okay, hey, I'm going to keep them off of you. I'm going to make sure I chunk this or push it that way just so I can get this XP. That just fundamentally, that's just like players understanding each other and what they need to do. And it's a great team composition, great synergy there between the players. And you would think they've been playing together for a long amount of time, the way they just absolutely perfectly coordinated a lot of these fights. So well done there. And
it's hard to imagine a lot of these matches being completely random, right?
I know.
Like a lot of the way we've seen these teams play right now, a lot of them know exactly where the flow of what they're going to. And like, especially, in a lot of these team fights, able to separate Mons out. We saw that Snorlax take the block there and try to pin that Serena against the wall, but even the V-Stars were able to come back from that. And in situations like that, I mean, like, when you have a Mon so isolated, you should be able to capitalize on it. The fact that the V-Stars were able to come back out of there and just, turn that situation around, and that wasn't the only time they were able to do that. Incredibly impressive. Incredibly impressive.
Absolutely, and really a fantastic round 1 and 2, and I'm just looking forward to see what the rest of the tournament looks like. But I know for us, we won't be back till later on, but we do have Relic and Sofchan coming up, and they're going to be some amazing casters we have, and RT Sign, and we're going to have Tings later. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the cast. But Dodd, it's always been a pleasure every time.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to cast with you, Slim, and we'll see you later tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. Everybody take care.